welcome everybody. Jamie Howell here. Welcome back to the Howell at the Moon headquarters. This is week 2 of the Right on the River Howell at the Moon blog. Good first week. Had some people sign up. Some people I know, some people I don't know. Good to have all of you. Looking forward to growing this over time as we move forward. So, Right on the River, the organization I'm doing this for, puts on its yearly writers conference, which is great, but it also does a lot of other things during the year, like workshops and writer events where you get to do readings. And so I went to one of those last month with author G.M. Ford came to town. And so this blog has to do with some of the nuggets of wisdom I was able to pull out of that. It's called Wanna Push the Button. Quote, "If 14 editors and agents have read it and nobody wants it, it stinks. Write another book because you didn't push the button," said the short, barrel-chested man at the front of the room in a crusty Brooklyn accent. He looked like someone you wouldn't want to meet in a back alley in a bad mood, and when he would slam both sets of knuckles 8-man style on the desk in front of him, up would pop the tiniest kernel of concern about your kneecaps. But G.M. Ford, author of Who in the Hell is Wanda Fuca, in the first of his popular Leo Waterman mystery series, is not a danger. At least not to the writers who came to glean wisdom at his workshop for Right on the River last month. On the contrary, with his good-humored blend of encouragement and crass realism, he can be a big help. And I found him to be just that when he offered up a chewy proposition that before any of us go any further with this whole writing thing, perhaps we should know just why we think that's a good idea. "What do you want out of it?" he asked. He reached over his head and drew a black line from one end of the marker board to the other because he was short that way. At one end of the black line, he wrote, "Quit day job, make $1 million. And at the other end, sensitive soul." So in other words, as a writer, are you Cuba Gooding Jr. jumping up and down, screaming, "Show me the money," or are you the pure and unadulterated artiste, happily recording verbatim the whims of the muse, nary a thought squandered on the looming opinions of the readers and the publishing empire? Ford made no judgments, although from his operating definition of literary fiction, which I quote, 400 pages of beautifully crafted prose in which absolutely nothing happens to a group of people about who we don't give a damn. It wasn't hard to spot his position on the continuum. I started looking for my own spot and find myself mired in the tricky business of dodging judgments. On the make $1 million side of the line, I found a variety of less pleasing concepts hanging about, gems of belittlement like hack or sellout. While down at the other end of the spectrum, behind the fuzzy warmth of true artist, lurked some nastier adjectives like self-deluded or chicken shit. But if I'm honest, and I am, for me there's no denying that I want to make money. It's not all I want to do, certainly, but it has always been my belief that if an artist wants to devote himself to his art, he absolutely has to find a way to fund it. So during a brief stint working on ambulances as an EMT, which is a very, very slow way to fund your art, they taught us we had to put our own safety first, because you're no damn good to anybody else if you go out and get yourself hurt on a call. So the same goes for writing. How can I be any good as a writer if I'm too busy, distracted, and exhausted by my day job to actually sit down and write? So my goal is, and always has been, to fund the writing with the writing itself. And that goal, no matter how I might tell myself, changes the way I write. Now, I will feel a certain compulsion to write things people will read, to keep stories moving along, to wrap things up more neatly and pay things off more reliably. I will consider how readers might react to my words. Will they cringe, or maybe they'll even fire me from this volunteer blog position if I put in words like chicken shit. And sometimes, actually regularly, I'll change what I would have written in a creative vacuum and try to produce a better reaction out in the real world. So, while I long to make true art, and I want to make the world a better place, I actually do. First off, as G.M. Ford puts it, I want to go out there and try to push the button. How about you? Thanks, that's week 2. Come back next week, we'll do it again. I'll try not to bounce the camera so much, and I'll see you then.